But yeah, as for redemption, I mean, I think redemption is very inward as opposed to no one else can really give you the self-satisfaction necessary for forgiveness. I think. I mean, it took Michael finally broke down and confessed to the priest, and that's really what gives him the gall, as it were, to approach Kay about like, hey, I have all this baggage and it's really hurting me. Can you forgive me? And because he does that, he starts to make those motions, and that in turn drives him to make that speech to Thomasino's corpse about oh God, give me another chance. I mean, that's really the road to redemption for him, is his acceptance of, like his father says in the first film, I did what I did, but that's my life, and that's really what Michael has to do. I don't think he gets the best opportunity for it, however, because of his daughter's death. And he can't. He'll never forgive himself.
That's the problem, though. Yeah. I mean, if you're talking inwardly, he's a haunted man for the rest of his life. He's a broken man.
He has baggage forever. It is eternal baggage.
Yes.
That connection with Kay actually brings up another thing, because there are three stories in this. There's the Vincent story, there's the bank story, and then there's the children and Kay stories, I would deem it. The family story. And my biggest problem with this is in his entire interaction with him and Kay is the
dread issue?
Not so much the dread issue, is the major conflict, but the major last nail in the coffin of their entire relationship in the second film is Kay telling him she's had an abortion behind his back. I mean, my God, I mean, she did it both as, because she it's kind of this assault both on the tradition of the mafia, and that fathers and sons are the successors of fathers, but also as a way to hurt Michael as she's been hurt by him, or she feels she's been hurt by him. And there's that instance of her visiting the children, and Michael just wordlessly walks over and shuts the door on her. And I think, and they never bring it up. It's like it never happened. And it's nuts. I mean, go ahead and address it, sure, but they just completely ignore it. And I think, how can you talk to each other? In the somewhat casual way you're doing. The first time they meet in the film, Michael walks up with a plate with 2 slices of cake on it, says, hey, you want some?
First time in 8 years.
First time in several years, I thought, this is completely out of place.
See, I disagree, because I think Kay holds up to that role, but I think ultimately, Michael has spent those last 8 years, because to be fair, they've been, time-wise, on a timeline, they've been separated for much longer than 8 years, but he hasn't seen her in 8 years, as he points out. It's been 8 years. Mm-hmm. That's a long period of time to be apart, which means there was a period of time between their separation and them not seeing each other or completely parting ways, where we're not sure what happened during that time, how the divorce went, how this new person has come into her life, which is another kind of unnecessary. That's a little.
This story could have done without Kay being married again. That
especially considering he only appears in the very beginning of the party, and we don't see him ever again.
It's worthless. Yeah,
I agree. However, I think Kay plays into that. She, from the very start, the first scene they have together, Kay is not happy with him. She does not want to be there. Mm-hmm. She would be fine never having seen him again.
Yeah.
Michael, on the other hand, he spent all those 8 years, obviously he still talked to Mary, he still talked to Tony, but he's not, his family is broken. His family is, you put it, look at the end of how he ends up in the second film.
Yeah. The goal between him and his,
no matter how great the pain is from the abortion, no matter how great the injury is from that event, I feel like this is a man who doesn't really have much other. He doesn't have another choice.
Yeah.
Kay is what he had strived to protect. Kay is part of his inner sanctum.
Yeah. And I agree that in a way Kay does. I mean, I guess you could see it as Kay blames Michael for forcing her to the point of having to abort her own child. I mean, okay, I can kind of accept that, but then. And maybe you might say, well, men and women deal with this issue differently, and it might emotionally scar a woman more so that it's easier for a man to get over it. But I don't know. It's a lot to just write off as saying that, well, it happened they already kind of had that talk in the past before the film, and they don't even reference it. It's just this major oversight I felt on Coppola's and Puzzio's part for writing the screenplay. I mean, maybe there was just so much in the film, and they kind of already had a scene of like Michael asking her to forgive him. They didn't want to bring it in because it would be too much, but I don't know.
To be fair, I don't think it's as central to the storyline or the character's story as you may think. Also, I don't really see where you could have added it to the storyline. I mean, I understand their relationship with one another.
Could have just been a different storyline.
But I mean, I don't see where necessarily that's an issue that you would bring up. Necessarily. I don't know. I've never been in that situation.
Yeah.
God willing, hopefully nobody ever does.
No
Is
one
ever in that
is well,
situation.
but yeah.
Not to mention, to be fair, this is also 1990. Abortion might not be an issue you want to bring up in a film that you don't want people talking about. At least in 1990, the Supreme Court is already dealing with cases at about that same time. Overturning Roe v. Wade, not overturning.
Yeah.
Abortion may be a subject Coppola just doesn't want to go to. Not to mention, remember, he's Catholic, so abortion is a terrible sin.
Yeah.
Which is why he adds it to the second film, which is why it's in the story.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, and you've never read the original novel by Puzo, right?
I haven't finished it.
Oh, you
I haven't finished it. Yeah, I haven't finished it.
Okay, you started. How far are you into it at all? Because the way he tells the story in the novel is actually interesting in that he does Michael's story, but he also does the flashbacks, the flashbacks that appear in Godfather Part 2 with Vito. That's in the book. However, what's different is that at the end of the book, Kay realizes Michael has lied to her and runs away, and Tom goes to her and says, hey, don't let anyone ever know that I told you, but he did all this to protect you. And so she goes back to him, but always goes and prays for his soul because of the crimes he's committing to protect his family. But I mean, the Michael story in Godfather Part 2 and really the third part of the film are almost like a thought on Puzo and then Coppola as a co-screenwriter about what if that never happened? What if Kay never really came to that realization, and then what would happen in their lives? And that's really the end result. The end result in their relationship is that ultimately she self-destructs and starts, as some people would see it, starts murdering their family, butchering their family and killing it from the inside. And I don't know. It's I just feel if it was something they could have addressed better in the third film. But no, I guess thinking critically about this one, trying to think what its problems were and what its pluses were, I do have a better respect for it. I think you mentioned when we were watching that after they go to Sicily it picks up, and I agree, it does pick up in pace.
Unfortunately, there are so many better scenes, and the storyline, I think, stays on track much better once they get to Sicily.
I agree.
Whereas the first half, as you said, it's a little slow going for a while.
And they bounce back between America and Rome like 2 or 3 times, I think. They're in America, then they're in Rome.
There's also the problem of the contrived romance is not in Sicily like it is in New York.
Yeah.
We leave. This is the part where we've left New York behind, and we're getting back to. This is where the conflict is reaching its climax, and for this particular film, that is the only place this film is going to excel.
Yeah.
This has been a VS1 production.